Are you thinking about what to study at the University of the West Indies, Mona? Are you looking for an exciting program with many interesting career options? Then apply for our bachelor's degree in demography. Demographers study changes in human populations as a result of births, deaths, and migration. They develop policies and programs to address issues such as fertility and teen pregnancy, health and chronic disease, aging and mortality, youth employment, and migration. Let's hear from a few of our demography graduates. Andre Richards is currently the Policy Program Analyst at the United Nations Population Fund. Previously, he worked at the Statistical Institute of Jamaica and the Planning Institute of Jamaica.
I really enjoyed my time studying demography at the undergraduate level. It was interesting being able to build on the knowledge that you would have gathered from Sociology CAPE Unit 2, where you learn about your total fertility rate, your mortality rate, and crude rates, and to see that there was an actual degree program that built that out further and helped you to understand the use of demography. So I started out doing history with archaeology. I then transitioned to the social sciences where I took up economics. And while doing economics, someone introduced me to demography and said I should consider a minor. And while doing the minor, I realized I loved the demography more than the economics. And then after falling in love with it, I decided to also come back and do a master's degree in it. So in the field of demography, actually, I started out working on the 2011 population census. That was my introduction to demographic work.
At the UNFPA, Andre works with 22 countries in the English and Dutch-speaking Caribbean.
So at UNFPA, we currently have 3 transformative results that we are working towards to help countries to actualize by 2030, along with the 2030 agenda that the United Nations is spearheading. We want to have unmet need for family planning being 0. We want to have 0 maternal mortality and 0 gender-based violence in countries globally. But in order for you to have baseline data to track progress in these various areas, you need to have good demographic data.
Pisha Bryan Lee studied both sociology and demography and holds a senior position at the Planning Institute of Jamaica.
Currently, I am the Program Director of the Vision 2030 Jamaica Secretariat at the Planning Institute of Jamaica. The Vision 2030 Jamaica Secretariat coordinates the implementation of Jamaica's first long-term national development plan, Vision 2030 Jamaica, as mentioned. We are also responsible for integrating the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals in Vision 2030 Jamaica's implementation. We are responsible for working with all stakeholders in aligning their planning, their policy with the national development agenda that we have agreed on. So we have a vision statement, Jamaica, the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. We also have 4 goals, and those goals focus on empowerment, they focus on security, safety, social cohesion, and governance, they focus on economic prosperity. They also focus on having a healthy environment, a healthy natural environment. Demography is about understanding population dynamics. That is how populations are structured, the size, who is in the population, how that population grows, and development, as we practice it in Jamaica, is participatory and it's people-centered. So again, we have to understand our population and how it is developing. Demography also provided me with statistical skills. And as much as we sometimes think numbers are boring, numbers can be very exciting. Think about understanding how many people are employed and how many people are unemployed, because that's how we then look at how we can improve the labor market, for example.
In addition to development planning, demographers can work in a wide range of career fields.
So I encourage you, come into a field that is marketable. It's not just marketable in the public sector, but did you know that in many countries, demographers work in market research, they work in insurance companies, they even work in retail, because demographers help you to target your goods to whatever audience you want them to go to.
Tony Shea Freckerton has worked 17 years as a demographer, first with the Planning Institute of Jamaica and then in New York with the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction.
The first part of my 17 years in my career as a demographer began with the Planning Institute of Jamaica. I was employed immediately after finalizing my master's degree in the program, and I started there where I transitioned from demographer, senior demographer, to manager of the population and health unit, and then to the director. On many occasions, I was called in with the Director General of the Planning Institute to provide policy advice and guidance to the Prime Minister and Ministers of Cabinet on matters related to the population. I've transitioned now, moving from a national civil servant, now being an international civil servant, where I have served under 3 presidents of the General Assembly of the United Nations as team lead on sustainable development, and my current post is as the chief of the New York Liaison Office for the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction.
In her role at the United Nations Office in New York, Tony Shea has been able to impact global population policy.
I manage a team of experts who provide policy guidance to all 193 member states of the United Nations, to members of the UN system and stakeholders on how to integrate disaster risk reduction into their policies, their programs, in key decisions here at the UN, because we know that when it comes to disaster risk reduction, those at risk are people, and people are at the heart of development, and this is the centrality of what demography is all about.
Tony Shea encourages young people to study demography as quantitative skills are in demand globally.
So when you really look at the future of work, it demands people who have critical thinking and problem-solving skills, data analysis and statistics, because increasingly all decisions, all investments, policies, plans and programs are evidence-driven. And certainly sociology and demography provides the base, the foundation for all of this work. So we simply need more people who have these kinds of competencies, and a career in demography and sociology is well worth it.
For more information on these and other exciting programs, email the Department of Sociology, Psychology and Social Work at spswork@uwimona.edu.jm.